Many children nowadays are exposed to sexual misconduct through pornographic imagery, through abuse, and through expressions, creative expressions that are rooted in the perversion of sex. This is a reality for most of us, and this is a reality for a lot of the children that are on this earth today. And so it's something that I wish to address with the purpose of learning how to tend to that fire that exists within us that is very natural. So I feel it is essential to express that you don't have to battle your sexual urges. You don't have to fight. You don't have to declare war on this part of yourself that was likely very wounded. But understanding the nature of sexual expression. Sex is sacred. It is a natural part of the human experience that permeates this whole earth. Reestablishing the relationship that you have with your understanding of sexual expression and the way that that is all around you and within you. When you position yourself so as to fight yourself, you're setting yourself up for failure. And you don't have to destroy the part of yourself that is sexual by nature, because without that you wouldn't be here. I'm just stating the obvious. You already know that. Does that change the fact that it's difficult to tend to that inner fire, especially when you have experienced abuse or you have been exposed prematurely to these things? No. Doesn't mean that it isn't something that poses a challenge, especially when people are not talking about it. So that's why I'm talking about it today. Welcome to my channel. If you guys have never been here, I speak on mental health. I speak about overall wellness and ways in which we can navigate challenges in life in such a way so as to be emotionally responsible while simultaneously being expansive and creative. So, speaking of creative energy, being creative, sex is creative by nature. We were creative through this expression, and that is something to be celebrated, not to be fought, not to be ashamed of, not to be dismissed or ignored. So it is essential that we have conversations about this amongst our communities. Whether you have brothers and sisters who are around you, whether you are in dynamics where you feel as though it is appropriate to have these conversations, or even if you are having a conversation with yourself. Just know that this is a discussion that you should be having with yourself, that you should be having with your peers, because of the level of perversion, because of the level of abuse that has occurred within our society, within humanity, in respect to our children. So it is our responsibility to address these things. The number one thing, stop fighting yourself. Stop punishing yourself. And understand these two roots, okay? There is the root of sexual expression as serving a creative and divine purpose, and there is a root of sexual expression rooted in perversion and molestation and things that are not at all reflective of you as the soul. Be it that the souls who are observing this are having intentions that are commendable, that are respectable. I would not be surprised if there was a part of somebody viewing this that perhaps has more of a perversion within their sexual expression. Although I'm here to communicate to you that you do not have to identify with that aspect of yourself. You do not have to succumb to that aspect of yourself, and you do not have to fight that aspect of yourself. Why? Because putting yourself in a position so as to fight yourself sets you up to lose. We do not need to fight ourselves. We need to understand ourselves, and we need to reestablish new connections and new relationships that are rooted in that divine purpose, that are rooted in that sacred expression, that are rooted in the beauty of the gift that is your existence here through the creative expression of sexual contact. Sexual contact is happening all day, every day. And when you understand that fact, when you understand that everything is sexual, you no longer exist in this state where it has been created within the consciousness of humanity as some sort of taboo, as some sort of terrible thing that should be avoided at all costs, as far as communication goes. Of course, I agree that there is an appropriate time to reveal to a child about this reality. There is an appropriate time for our children to become aware to a certain extent. But when the conversation doesn't happen, it leaves children vulnerable, which is likely why you have been put into a position where you witness things that created trauma within your energy centers. Your energy centers in your body hold memory. They are like a cluster of nerves that serves as an individual brain. And when you have a traumatic experience, even if it's just something that you saw that you were not ready to see, these traumatic experiences get imprinted into the brain that is that particular energy center. Not only this, it gets imprinted into your actual brain, right? And so you make and create associations, likely or often against your will, to sexual expression within your energy centers as a child, prematurely. That is not okay, and that is not your fault. And as a grown adult, as somebody who strives to exist in wellness, it is very likely that you will subconsciously, without your awareness, shame yourself into a state where you perpetuate this loop and you perpetuate this behavior. I'm not necessarily saying that it's easy to break these patterns, although it's a lot more difficult when you are battling yourself, when you are fighting yourself, when you are shaming yourself, when you are blaming yourself, and you're not aware that that's happening. And on top of that, you're not even acknowledging the aspects of your being, be it the energy centers, and how they are connecting to your psyche. When you do not acknowledge yourself in this way, and you do not do that internal work, it becomes increasingly more difficult as you solidify those connections within the energy centers, within the brain, within the body, within the nervous system, by way of behaving in that more perverted way, right? Because it's something that you learned. Self-compassion is essential when you are working with sexual trauma. And it is very common, if you have not noticed, for people to dismiss the reality of how severe these egregious acts are. People dismiss it. They act like it does not matter. They sweep it under the rug. Why? Because it is painful to look at. Why? Because some people have ill intent, actually. Or because there are attachments, energetic attachments, things that you don't necessarily see with your eye that are malicious in nature. And when you have an attachment to something that is not necessarily tangible, or something that is beyond your scope of awareness, you don't even realize what you're allowing into your being, into your field of energy. This is a huge reason why I am such an advocate for understanding the body in a holistic way, not just in a physical way. Living day to day with the awareness, with bodily awareness, which does not exclude the non-physical aspect of yourself. So this leads me to talk about what it is that I share with community, how it is that I have been able to heal these aspects of myself, and how it is that I've been able to find peace within my own being, safety within my own being, and to choose wisely, to be wise with my own sexuality, and to appropriately relate to my body in respect to my sexuality, which is not some perverted, terrible thing to talk about. It's not taboo. This is something that is natural. It's as natural as eating a bowl of lentils. It's as natural as chopping open a coconut with a machete and drinking coconut water. That's sexual energy permeating through all of this beautiful, natural world and earth. Imagine, I say sex and you picture all sorts of perversions and distortions of what that actually is, automatically, without even realizing it. That is not your fault. What you do have to take responsibility is the actions that you take as you become aware and as you start to make choices to change. Some people are not ready to change, and that is okay, but that is not relevant to the one who is. The one who is ready to change is the one who will take those steps and take those actions and learn, create those awarenesses from within, establish and integrate those awarenesses from within. That is what you're here to do. That is why you clicked on this video, and that is why you are watching it. That's what leads me to share a little bit more about what it is that I share with community through my practice with scalar plasma. Scalar plasma being the electromagnetic impulse that penetrates down to the genetic level and heals on a cellular level. It heals cells, tissues. It is a tool that purifies water. It is a very beneficial tool when it comes to healing the body, when it comes to overall well-being. What I share with people is how to empower yourself through awareness, through your awareness of how you can make these corrections from within by way of the breath and by way of directing your energy in particular ways in parts of the body that require attention. When you keep looking away from the issue, when you keep ignoring and masking the issue by various means, whether it be through relationships, whether it be through sexual misconduct, whether it be through overeating, whether it be through distractions, substances, you ignore the body. You solidify more neural networks into your body that are in alignment with the perversion as opposed to the intention. So I want you now to set an intention for yourself, to acknowledge the aspects of yourself that have not been acknowledged, the aspects of yourself that experienced abuse, that experienced sexual abuse, which is not to be dismissed. It is not to be taken lightly, irrespective of the level at which you experienced it. If you feel inwardly that you were exposed to sexual misconduct at the hands of another person, even if they didn't do anything hands-on, right? Even if they just chose to show something to you, now is your time to set an intention, to acknowledge yourself and remove the blame from your heart, from your mind, from your soul. Remove the blame. You are not to blame if your intention was not to pervert yourself as a child who did not know and who was not aware, but who was very much curious of the nature of all of creation. It's okay. Okay, so set an intention for yourself to acknowledge that aspect of yourself. From there, as you're setting your intention, I want you to take a breath into that aspect of yourself, into that version of yourself. And I don't care if you've been celibate, and I don't care if you've been working on yourself in that respect, or if you feel that you've completely let that go. It doesn't matter. You have to acknowledge that aspect of yourself that still exists, that experienced that injustice, and breathe life into that intention and to that aspect of yourself. Breathe life, breathe compassion, breathe understanding into that being, and allow yourself to feel that compassion, to feel that aspect of the responsible adult who is showing up to protect that child, to care for that child properly. And question, if you could do it over, how would you have expressed to that aspect of yourself the reality of sexual expression as it relates to divinity, as it relates to the nature of our existence here on earth? If that child came up to you and asked you a question about sexuality, how would you respond? How would you have appreciated yourself now that you're an adult for somebody to respond to you as that child asking that question? And allow yourself to experience that in that particular way. And as you move forward, making these internal changes in respect to your sexuality, operate from this position, not the position. Let go of the aspect of yourself that is fighting yourself, that is battling an addiction, that is at war with self. You're not battling anything. You're understanding how to appropriately relate in a harmonious way. And when you feel those urges within yourself, appropriately relate to the perversion. Appropriately relate to the perversion. The perversion is not attractive. You just think it is. You've just been led to believe that that is normal. You've normalized it. If you would like to go deeper with me, I can assist you in navigating the ways that these attachments have burrowed themselves into your energy systems, into your energy centers, into your neural network. And I can assist you in reestablishing new connections in a very deep way. I am but a guide. Your body and your breath will express to you its needs, and I will show you how to listen to its needs and to also redirect it by way of your own self-awareness, right? Self-awareness being the soul that you are, the soul that never intended to be attached to something of such malicious intent. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Again, I can only go so deep within these videos, and the best way to connect with me is to reach out to me directly. You can leave a comment, or you can email me. I leave it in the description, or you can DM me.